Assumptions create reality. Science of manifestation. What if everything you believe you're seeing is actually what you are expecting to see? And what if your brain is constantly guessing, not recording? Then how do you know your version of reality is real? Experiments recently conducted by Merle Lawrence at Princeton and Adelbert Ames at Dartmouth College and the Ladder Psychology Laboratory at Hanover NH. This exact what I'm reading for you now, I was reading yesterday in Neville Goddard's collection. All 10 books by a modern master. And the 3 lines here was what gave me the idea to dive in and to share with you. Prove that what you see when you look at something depends not so much on what is there as on the assumption you make when you look. I asked, Neville Goddard's work is years back. He was a spiritual teacher, law of assumption, manifestation, how to create by visualizing. I asked yesterday night, and I went to work with this, how is this? And is this scientifically accurate in 2025? I mean, the book was written many years ago. Is it accurate in 2025? That was my question yesterday night. Trust me, the answer surprised me. And I'm going to share it with you exactly what I found out yesterday. The answer was yes, and more than ever. We're going to dive into it now. In 2025, cognitive neuroscience, quantum perception, studies, and psychology still support and even expand on this core idea. Here's why. First, my name is Michael Plusek. I'm not that good at remember saying that on my YouTube channel, but this is the part of our manifestation masterclass. It's still free. Got manifestation teachings in there, things that I've used in my own life and in my business to grow it, double it again, and especially mindset and emotional trainings. And if you want to check it out and join us, it's school.com/manifestation and free. So let's dive into this. Why is it that this is more than ever correct? Here's what I found. Perception is constructed. It's not passive. Modern neuroscience confirms that perception is not simply the reception of data from the eyes or senses. And here comes the fact: the brain actively constructs your reality using the things that I'm sharing with you here. Past experiences, expectations, emotional state, and belief systems. So let's look at these. Past experiences. I've shared this again and again from my own learnings and from my own journey path here on earth, and also from the clients that I've helped with these things. So during our life we got experiences, and we know, neuroscience knows today, that most of these things that we experience in our early ages, down to 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years old. But the more young we are, the more we absorb, and they are just getting in there. We are kind of in a meditative state. Those past experiences keep repeating themselves during your life, my life, our lives. So you probably know the movie The Groundhog Day, and maybe you know that experience. You probably know the saying of the being in the hamster wheel, of just the same thing keeps happening again and again and again and again. Here it is. One part of it, perception is constructed, it's not passive. And one of the ways it's constructed is by past experiences. So if something happened to us, good or bad, something bad, let's stick with that really hurted us at a point and sat something in our system, those past experiences, we will keep creating reality from those. Expectations. And these things, in my mind, they're kind of like woven together. But expectations, what do we expect? One thing that comes to my mind here is actually two things. One thing is that I did some hypnotic trainings on myself some years ago, and I learned about a study that was done many years ago, where they asked people if they considered themselves lucky or not lucky. And then there was like a newspaper or something like that, and in one of the pages there was a message. I'm not sure I am recalling everything 100% here, but there was a message: you won, and like maybe $100 or something. And what they figured out was that the people that considered themselves lucky, many more of those people found that on the page compared to the people who didn't consider themselves lucky. They didn't see that on that page. They didn't expect lucky to show up in their life, and they didn't see it. It was the same paper. It's a really, really, really data-driven study. So that was one example. And one thing that I learned during especially the last couple of years, as I really, really, really began to work with my own inner world, was that I had some deep core beliefs, and they became expectations. So if I wanted something, or if I was creating a campaign or got a new client, or even as I started as an actor, I still saw some of these old patterns showing up, expecting the worst. I don't know about you, maybe you know what I'm saying here. I had to become very aware to understand that this was going on inside of me. But I've probably done this my whole life, expecting the worst. So I put out a campaign, but I expected actually that people would bring up bad comments on the campaign. I got a new client, and I expected that client, I had it running in my mind and some fear in my body that client would stop our cooperation. And let's say I had a date or something, and my mind just kept expecting the worst. One of my teachers called this catastrophizing. And maybe you know someone who has a tendency, like I did, to catastrophize. Now here's the thing, why is this important when we talk about this, about your reality, about manifestation, about manifesting your dream life? Well, if deep down, and maybe it comes together with past experiences and the next things, but if you, like I did, expect, or your neighbor, expect catastrophic things to happen, if you're it's a difficult word. If you are catastrophizing, guess what? Look at the screen here. Perception is constructed. Guess what you will experience more of in your reality? Catastrophic things. Remember the thing that I started with, this, what do you call it? When they checked out people who considered themselves lucky or not lucky. The lucky people saw that lottery winning thing more than those not considering themselves lucky. So that's proven by science. But think about that. If you are going even lower, like I did, and it still shows up sometimes, and I catastrophize, guess what happens in reality? And then emotional state. I don't know about you, but I've experienced so much that some days I'm in a good mood, and it seems like heaven is just with me. I smile, people smile back to me, I believe something good is going to happen to me, and boom, there's a great email or there's a great thing. Then I got other days where I am in a not so good state, emotional state, and it seems like I catch myself doing things like more, things like that. Guess what I also really seen now is that when I'm in that kind of state, there's more things showing up in my reality to do the too. What about you? And feel free to join me in the comments here and share whatever shows up for you. The more we get aware of these things, the more it's easy or possible to shift them. And then belief systems. I had belief systems around money, that money was evil, that rich people was greedy, and the money was hard to make. And I ended up in a $1.5 million debt, even though I worked a leadership management job with 500 people in my team, constructed 20 apartments, wrote 4 books, did so many things on top of this, and I was so stressed. Guess what? I believed money was hard to make. It showed up in my reality. I catastrophized that. I believe rich people were greedy people, so I didn't want to become rich. I didn't want to be a greedy person. And if you now take the expectations, catastrophizing, I was so full of fear that everything would fall apart, and they did, and more. So today, when I look back, I really, really believe that these things that I'm sharing with you here, because now also science is just more than ever saying this is the truth, that these things created my reality. This is known as predictive processing. The brain predicts what it will see and adjusts the incoming data accordingly. Think about that. Think about that. That's why teachers have told, and I've too, because I experience it like that is like our reality is like a movie screen, and you got this projector projecting the movie up on the screen. Reality is not there. That's just a screen. But it's coming from the projector. And that projector is you, it's me. That projector is your brain. And if you look at past experiences, expectations, emotional state, and belief systems, that will create your reality. There's so much more out there than what our brains can perceive. So the brain is just predicting. Make sense? It's powerful stuff. Then number 2 that I looked into from my question was quantum and observer effect. While not directly about daily perception, Quantum physics reinforces the idea that observation affects reality. Experiments like the double slit show, most people heard about that. If they are in the personal growth or spiritual world or quantum world or manifestation world, they heard about this. Experiments like the double slit show that what we assume or expect seems to change the behavior of particles. This has philosophical overlap with Neville Goddard's teachings and the law of assumption and observer-based reality models. And now, where we are in 2025, the biggest companies who works with quantum, because quantum computing is getting closer and closer to us, they speak about now that there are different realities. Like some of the spiritual teachers from years and years and years before us, now science talks about multi-realities. And then back to Ain's room and perception illusions still hold. This was the whole thing from Neville Goddard's book that got me to look into all of this. Adalbert Ames experiments, e.g. the Ain's room, are still classic demonstrations used in psychology today to show that perception is skewed by assumptions, like assuming the room is square when it's not. And I read this in Neville Goddard's collection because again and again and again in his books he speaks about the law of assumption. And that was my question. Does this still hold in 2025? We got so much more data. Science knows so much more than back when Neville Goddard wrote these things. Current psychology agrees. Cognitive bias research, e.g. confirmation bias and priming, shows we see what we expect to see. What we believe to be true actually shapes what we perceive as real. So again, if we inside of us, if you inside of you, if I inside of me, have beliefs around money, most of us has, maybe all of us, around health, around love, around if the world is good or bad, those beliefs will create your reality. So whatever you believe to be true actually shapes what you perceive as real. So even though you say, because I tried this for so many years, even though you say I am so lucky or I am a rich person, all of these affirmation things, well, if your expectations, if your beliefs, if your past experiences are that you are not a wealthy person, it's not enough to say it, because your beliefs are much more than that. Some final insights here. In 2025, this idea is not only still valid, it is foundational to both cutting-edge science and modern spiritual manifestation teachings. And because we're in 2025, I'm so much into, there's something from all of these teachers from years behind of us. Some of those are thousands of years behind of us in our story. And today we got AI. We got maybe soon quantum computers. So the world is changing so fast. So again, all of what I'm saying here, is it really true that what we assume has more impact on our reality than what is actually out there? And the answer is yes. Reality is filtered through the lens of your assumptions. So if you change the lens, change what you see and ultimately what you experience. And as I read through Neville Goddard's collection here with all 10 books by a modern master, I see again and again it's the same thing that Neville Goddard writes about. And I've shared those also both on YouTube and also in the Manifestation Masterclass. So if we want to, so as it says here, if you want to change your reality, change the lens, change what you see. Final notes: perception shapes reality. What you see when you look at something depends less, and this is from the book, this was what got me started, depends less on what is actually there and more on the assumptions you make when you look, based on experiments by Merle Lawrence, Princeton, and Adelbert Ames from Dartmouth. In 2025, science confirms the brain constructs reality based on expectations, beliefs, and emotional state. Your mind doesn't record reality, it interprets it. Change your assumptions. That's the law of assumption. Change your assumptions, change your perception, change your experience. This is supported by neuroscience, psychology, and even quantum physics. So the takeaway here, you don't see the world as it is. You see it as you are. So if you want to change your reality, if you want to create your dream life, I'm sharing everything I'm learning here. And also in the Manifestation Masterclass, the link is below this video. If you want to change your reality and you want to step into your dream life, 2025, science, quantum, psychology confirms that the way to change what's out there is to change what's in there. You see your reality as you are. I think exactly that was the last one here. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I looked forward and enjoy sharing it with you. And the last thing that I want to share with you is, the more I do this, I enjoy it even more. And I really do love when there's comments on the videos. I just love it. I saw some great comments the last couple of days, and it actually gave me a lot of energy to just like, wow, it's so nice when people see something, they relate to it, they share it, even if they don't relate to it, but share it, but from here, from a good heart. So thanks for that, and lots of love.